Hi everyone. Welcome to the second episode of the second harmonics, and this is officially going to be called episode 1 really, because the last one was episode 0. It was more of my preparation podcast and just kind of throwing it out there. I just want to get something started, but this one is going to be the official one where we actually talk about music. Just wanted to start a little bit with the icebreaker. So why not? It's been about 2 weeks since I filmed, so I thought it would be nice. So this week has been pretty interesting. I was out with a couple of my buddies about this limited release of beer called Pliny the Younger, and then spent a lot of hours waiting, but it was a nice festive event. Only this time of the year we get to drink this special beer. It's triple IPA beer. People travel all around the world. I liked last year's better, but still it was very fun, waiting in those lines with a couple of your friends, just having a small talks. And I was also watching March Madness basketball. I'm glad Illinois, the school I went to Final Four. So it was a fun weekend, but it's time to get to work. So, I hope you guys had a great weekend as well, and let's just get started. So today I want to introduce you about my playlist. I have a laptop in front of me, so I can kind of refer to my playlist, but it's available publicly on Spotify. You can find that in Instagram or my YouTube link. I will also link this public playlist, and you can take a look at this. But a little bit about the playlist tradition, maybe for me at least. I've been doing this since 2022. I think that's what I mentioned in the last podcast. But I create 2 podcasts every year. I call it FW and SP. It's kind of like a fashion, but spring, summer, and then fall, winter podcast. So it's just kind of like I divide year in 2. Whatever comes into my mind or whatever I'm listening to a lot, that first and last half of the year, I just kind of dump it into these playlists. And it's just really nice reflection of how this year went for me, at least end of the year. When they do all the raps and things at December, it's also just really fun to look at my playlist versus what Spotify or any YouTube or Tidal or whatever application you use compare their rap versus the playlist, and then see, oh wow, this is what I listen to, and then how much it converges on my playlist and things like that. So, and if I look back into the years, it kind of changes. It's possible to know how my music taste changed over time, and then what I was into that particular year. So I think this is a really nice way of doing it, and then just keeping my footprints of my music taste and then what I've been listening to and how my taste evolved into. So this is a living playlist. It doesn't necessarily get fixed. I constantly add things as I discover more musics, and as my music taste just kind of changes over time during that year. And I think starting from last year, I started to go to a lot of concerts and a lot of festivals, and then sometimes that's playlist is influenced by those concerts and festivals I'm going to. I believe that's still a good way to update the playlist, because a lot of these artists go into tour because they have new music releases. It's great to keep up to date with the artists you are interested in, you want to be interested in, and dig their history a little bit, as well as keeping yourself updated with those artists' new albums and works. So that's just kind of brief about how my playlists are updated or keep being tracked, at least from my personal history. So let's go into a little bit of a Spring 26 playlist breakdown. I'm just gonna get started with heavy and electric songs. Just a little bit of high energy songs. Let's begin with that. Why not? A lot of my songs, if you take a look, it can be it's there's a lot of album based songs added into my playlist. I just kind of listen to the album and then pick a couple songs I like. If I like whole album and I want to listen to it repeatedly, I just dump whole album into my playlist sometimes. But most of the cases, I dump one or two songs, or even three songs I like from that album into my playlist, and sometimes a particular song comes up in my mind, and I just if it keeps coming in my mind for like 2 weeks or 3 weeks, I also dump that songs in there as well. So, um, anyways, let's just get started. So heavy and electric songs. I want to bring these two artists, Turnstile and Knocked Loose. Um, some people might call them hardcore or metal or whatever. It's one of those line of the genres of artists. Um, Turnstile is pretty well known, two times Grammy winner this year. Uh, their Never Enough album has been a huge success. First time I've seen them live was last year's Aftershock Festival. They're they were actually one of my top list on that festival. Funny enough, so yeah, their performance was what I was really looking forward for. Um, Again, they're amazing live. Their pit was it wasn't the most intense one, but it was fun to play in there. They're a little bit of popular bands, I guess, compared to other metal and heavy metal crowd in the aftershock. So if you're a beginner or if you're getting into this genre, I think they're a good band that you can listen to and then get into this line of the music. So highly recommend them. The songs I have is "I Care" and "Never Enough" from Never Enough album. "Birds" is also a good song. That's I don't believe it's in my playlist, but "Blackout" from the Glow On album, which is their previous album, is also on my playlist. And honestly, very good songs. What I liked about them is there's some melody to it. It's not it's really get easy to get into and has a lot of that heavy beat in there. Drums really fun to listen to. I really like the vocals energy and then his gestures during the live performances as well. And then like the sound is pretty rich in this band. It's a two guitar. I really like how they line their sessions up. Very good bass player, two guitars, one drummer. It's a basic setup, but still very nice to listen to those rich sounds in the metal hardcore side of things, I guess. So it's I believe it will be really nice if you want to get into this metal and the hardcore genres, and then want to get some introductions. Maybe you were into emo side, and then you want or pop rock that side of things, and then you want to listen. Get your foot in the step. More into this line of music. I think Turnstile is a great band to get you introduced in there. So, yeah, that's pretty much it about Turnstile. That's why I really I love their live performance. I loved this album. Glad they won Grammys, and yeah. Also, you guys really should try to get to their live performances. They're almost reaching the end of their tour, and I think they were touring for about a year now, but with this album, but it has been great shows, honestly. Another band I want to mention is Knocked Loose. I discovered this band when I was in the Aftershock last year. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see them. I was lined up in the front of Lamb of God crowd, because me and my friend who went to Aftershock wanted to see Lamb of God a lot. He's a drummer, so we wanted to listen to a couple of the heavy drum sounds and things like that. And then this was probably one of my first heavy metal mosh pit I was been into. It was wild, but oh my man, it was super fun. But still, how we discovered about this Knock Loose band is while we were waiting for that Lamb of God performance, they actually put up Knock Loose performance on the screen when we were waiting. Um, we were listening to we were able to faintly listen to the song, but oh man, it was so energetic. Um, I almost wanted to just kind of go and take a look at them, and then what peaked really is the the band commanded the crowd to do the wall of death. We were like, oh wow, we wanted to do that, but the Lamb of God performance was starting on in like 10-15 minutes, so we couldn't really go there. But that performance was so electric and left really strong impression on my mind. I wanted to revisit this band and listen after. So after the Aftershock festival, I started to look into Knock Loose band and listen to a couple songs. Um, Funny enough, they did a collab with Poppy, and that was the song I got started with, because Poppy was one of the artists that I was familiar with from going to or listening to baby metal. So that was a little bit of a nice introduction to me. So the song is called Suffocate. It's not really in my playlist of this year, but I believe it is in fall 25, which is also probably public. Um, I started with this album. I love the rough female vocals. I'm gonna mention this later, a little bit more, but just alternating between growling vocals of Knocked Loose verse and the female growling of the Poppy. I really enjoyed this song, and then I tried to kind of dig their songs. Getting started with Suffocate. Blinding Fate is also a good one, but cutting straight into the Hive Mind, which is their newest song, that's in my playlist. This one is quite unique, actually, or maybe it's not unique. It's not a new thing, but I didn't really expect them to do this. I guess let's say maybe I don't know this band too much. I'm also getting started to know about Knocked Loose as a band, but the featuring is Denzel Curry, so he's a rapper. Um, and after in the middle or towards the end of the song, Denzel Curry starts to do this rap with this obviously metal melodies or metal ricks, I guess. um Man, hits hard, really. That shift in genre and the collaboration, I think that's really the peak of the song. Of course, I I love the drum in this band. Just insane, like I love the double pedals. I love listening to this song when I'm in gym or drive or whatever. But I just really appreciate just the drummer's technique in this band. It's so fun to listen to. I really enjoy it, and the vocal, obviously, really have a mad respect for anyone who can sing like this. It's kind of unbelievable. But yeah, this perhaps is my favorite song in my Spring 26 playlist, perhaps. Uh, no metal is not for everyone, but really, if you get started with Turnstile, which is kind of easier to listen to if you're new to this, listening to metal or hardcore, and then if you slowly start to dive into a little bit of Knocked Loose or any of these, Lamb of God, obviously Deftones and all those popular metal bands, I think you'll start to appreciate and then listen to metal a little bit more. I love it. It's a great way to relieve the stress, and then there's just something about it that gives you a little bit of dopamine, I guess, in your brain when you're stressed out and want to get out, I guess. So, highly recommend this song, and it kind of reminds me of a hardcore, like Linkin Park, but a little bit more hardcore, I guess, or metal focused. So, if you're into that kind of music, I really recommend Hive Mind. It's perhaps one of my favorite song in this the most favorite song in this playlist. Another album I want to highlight or artist is Hayley Williams, the Ego Death album. I'm pretty sure I dumped most of that Ego Death album into this playlist. I am going to the concert in May for Haley Williams concert. Paramore has been my bucket list, but Haley is one of my favorite vocalists. Uh, yeah, so really, my taste of music, I really like rough female vocals, um, and Haley is probably one of my like I don't know, dream vocalist, I guess. Um, just really appreciate some female vocals with power and roughness like Haley. She has insane depth in terms of how much tones she can cover. Uh, Great vocalist. And there's just something about those that type of vocalist I really like. So, anyways, enough of that. But what I really enjoyed was there's a there's that alternative feeling in this album, but I feel like this is the most complete Haley album I've heard of. It has her unique story and a unique identity in her album, I believe, and um, yeah, it's just when I first listened to this, I got introduced with Mortazepine album. Obviously, I like a little bit of hardcore, kind of loud musics. This Mortazepine song is probably the most uh, hardcore or song in the Ego Death album. And then when I heard that last part of her vocal, there's a part that she just kind of starts to scream. And I'm like, oh, wow, who is this? And it was Haley. So I'm like, oh, of course. So I got introduced with this song. I was listening to a lot of metal albums, and then it just kind of popped up on my playlist, and I'm like, oh, might as well just listen to this whole album. I like Paramore, I like Haley, might as well just listen to it. Then really all of these songs are so good. Parachute, I think a lot of people really like this song. The lyrics are really touching, I guess. But the song itself is pretty energetic, and I don't want to say bright, but has some positive energy. But if you pay attention to lyric, it's kind of contrasting. So I'm like, wow, this is also really fun to listen to, and has some yeah, that contrasting voice, lyric versus the melody. So that was kind of what I heard. What was the most impressive thing, I guess, or what left me the strong impression with the Parachute song. And personally, now my favorite um, song is Ego Death. Like, it's the song's name literally is the this album title, Ego Death at Bachelorette Party. Um, I love this song. This is probably my favorite song. Right, as I'm listening to this album over and over. Um, you know, it's I really like the lyrics too. I like the part where she says, "Shooting for the moon, it can only go up here." I think it kind of maybe related to her background, her personal story, I believe. But for me, also, when I'm having a bad day or hard day, I think listen to this song kind of cheers me up as well. And then it's I don't it's one of those songs that more and more you listen to, I think it just sticks with you. So that's why in this Ego Death album, Ego Death at Bachelorette Party song is my favorite song in this album. But really great album. I'm looking forward for her concert. Um, and yeah, speaking of female vocals like Haley, I want to bring up another artist, Suki Waterhouse. Neon Signs is one of the songs that's in my playlist. My fault FY25 playlist is pretty heavy on Suki Waterhouse. The reason is I heard her. She was a opener for Leve concert last year, and I didn't really know. I knew who Suki Waterhouse was. I'd never really listened to her songs before, but after I went in. I wasn't expecting anything. I just kind of went in. I'm like, oh, opener, Suki Waterhouse. I've heard of her name before. Might as well just listen to it because opener. um, and I'm like, wait, her vocal kind of reminds me of Haley. Um, well, Haley, but a little bit thinner voice, I guess, and more of below kind of tone, maybe, I guess. But her vocal still has a lot of power, strength, and a little bit of that roughness, I guess. You get from the rock vocalist, female rock vocalist, like something like that. So I I went in to see Leve, but I fell in love with Suki Waterhouse music, and I just dumped a bunch of her songs into my playlist and I started to just kind of listen to her things. So listen to Haley and listen to Suki Waterhouse, you will know what I'm talking about. There's a lot of similarities in the vocal tones there. One of my friends who I went to that concert with, and he's like, "Doesn't that remind you of a Haley Williams?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking," and that's literally just my ideal type of female vocalist that I'm just love listening to. So yeah, Neon Signs. I recommend this song. It's really nice. Um, it's I don't know, maybe the band itself has a little bit of the Lana Del Rey vibes as well. Like I, I don't know how to describe it that well. Maybe I need to prep my vocabulary a little bit better. Um, if you listen to some West Coast like Lana Del Rey versus Neon, some Suki Waterhouse's band, what they're playing, I don't know. It reminds me of some similar feeling. Some of those guitar sounds maybe or chords kind of reminds me of that. Maybe that's why that pops up. But Lana's vocal is also nice in her recordings. But Suki Waterhouse, her band and vocal has a little bit of that roughness and a little bit of a band and alternative and indie vibes more than Lana, I think. And you know, being sucker for these type of vocalists, female vocalists, I really appreciate the type of music Suki Waterhouse is doing. Speaking of Suki Waterhouse, I'm jealous of Lollapalooza for getting her as one of their performer. But anyways, this is another great artist to check out if your music taste is kind of similar to mine. Let's shift the gear a little bit. A little bit of softer side. I want to bring up Olivia Dean. There's probably a lot of Olivia Dean songs in my playlist this year. In spring 26, probably like 4 songs. I Earlier this year I went to jazz concert at SF Jazz, and then I'm like, I've been listening to more and more contemporary jazz and like a little bit jazzy songs, if you would say. Uh, but after that, I've been kind of trying to shift gear and then listen to more of that. Then Olivia Dean song kind of, it's not, you know, I don't think it's like a classic jazz, people will say, but it has like, again, one of those nice introduction to jazz that people can listen to, and then kind of dig more into deep jazz stuff. I don't know if I should call it deep jazz, but some of those jazzy musics has jazz vibes in there. She has some of those music so easy, for example. That's the music I got to know her with, and more and more you listen to these type of thing. I guess bossa nova is another genre that's kind of in crossing. So, anyways, what am I saying? Anyways, she has a lot of those jazz bossa nova, bossa pop element in her songs, and on this particular song, So Easy. So I've been listening to a lot of those 5 songs recently and get more into those kind of things, and then she kind of caught my attention for it. So that's why it's in there. And then apparently she won new artist Grammy as well. So I believe she might get a little bit big this year. She's in all lineup as a headliner. A lot of people are kind of like, is she really headlining name? But who knows? I think her music's really good. Has her music called Time, I think, has some of those rough female vocal thing that I really love. uh, and a lot of her music has lots of. I think she goes across a lot of genres, like some jazzy, bossa pop, jazz pop, whatever, and some of alternative feeling folk. I think she's really vocalist that can do a lot of diverse things. And then there's just she has her style. So if you're a little bit into those bossa pop, if you like Leve, for example, I think you will like Olivia Dean as well. So we'll highly recommend. It's kind of like a warm, soulful energy. It's a different texture than the hardcore and metal that I was mentioning before. Um, I guess my logic of thoughts kind of naturally flew into Olivia Dean after talking about some female vocalists I like, but her vocal is a little bit different than Haley and Suki, but it's more of a warmth in there, a different texture, a little bit more soft. But like I love listening to her music when I'm like driving in sun early or just eating breakfast, coffee, and things like that. You get the vibes. It's kind of like those kind of musics, and she executes it really well. So that's one artist to pay attention to, I think, this year. I don't know if she's on tour or something, but her music's I think she might rise. She might be a undercard or rising card or whatever you want to call it this year. So yeah, one artist to pay attention to. Speaking of this line of music, I want to kind of mention a Korean band that I've been listening to a lot. It's called Shin In Yu. It there's probably that there are a couple of songs that I kind of snuck in from their music, their album Shining Strikes. I've been listening to them a lot in FY25, so you'll see a heavy FY25 at Shin In Yu music. If you take a look at my playlist for fall 25, but their music reminds me a lot of another Korean band called Sannabi. Similar tone, vibes, but female vocal. And I really love their usage of keyboard. Um, the song that shows that a lot or really well is called Cosmos. It's not in my playlist of this year, for spring 26, but that's probably my favorite song from this band. But yeah, from the concert I went to last December, that I really was impressed by. I really thought the keyboard of this band was great, but if you're not paying attention to the keyboard and the recordings, you sometimes you just kind of hear the vocals and that's pretty much it. But if you're really paying attention to listen to keyboard, it's awesome. It's amazing. And then I feel like this band utilizes keyboard quite a bit heavily, or just a lot. It really stands out if you listen to their live performances. I think that's how you can listen to their keyboard and appreciate keyboard a little bit more. And if you pay attention after that live performance, if you pay attention to the keyboard, I'm like, okay, I can really hear that now. And then ever since that I listened to the Cosmos song, I'm like, this keyboard, their keyboard is very great, but I wasn't really paying attention to it during Shining Strike album. But after the live performances I went to, I started to listen to keyboard more focused, and then that's why what I want to recommend people to pay attention to when they're listening to their music. It really stands out. And that's my favorite part of this band. A lot of good songs. Attack is probably the most popular one. Is very bright. Attack and Huff, those are bright musics. It really lifts you up. So it's kind of like, oh, go 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 kind of vibe songs. So that's a good one. On one of the live performances song I really like. I didn't get to hear Cosmos, so I can't really talk about that. But the song that I loved listening to live is the Be the Dragon. Vocals impressive on this album. So I would highly recommend listening to Be the Dragon as well. Um, it's the it's one of those songs that I mentioned earlier. More and more I listen to this album or the songs from this album, it reminds me of this. I want to listen to Be the Dragon again because the live performance just kind of stuck in the back of my head. It just keeps reminds me of this song whenever I listen to Shinryu's song. So I kind of snuck this in last minute in Spring 26. Um, so yeah, they have a bit of a calmness on some of their songs. Some of their songs kind of like upbeat, for example, Attack, but a lot of their songs are kind of going in between upbeat versus upbeat, slightly bright, but not like so much of a fast BPM songs, but still pretty pleasant and really nice to listen to. Some songs like Cosmos, for example, are a little bit in a darker tone, but again, not saying it's sad song or anything, but it's I really like how there's that bass kind of boosted in there, like a harmonics warmth kind of thing, second harmonics warmth in their mixing boosted in there. So there's some of those elements as well, and some of those songs like Cosmos and from band called Shinryu. So that's one Korean band I wanted to bring up. And speaking of concerts, why not? When I went to Shinryu concert, there was this indie band called Record the Voice Message performing as an opener. I snuck in a couple of their songs called Drifter, of course, and Replay into my playlist. I really like Replay. Simple enough guitar riffs. Vocal is very calm. It's relaxed vibes. And it's like a little bit more acoustic, I guess. Acoustic, folk, kind of song, and indie maybe. I mean, they're an indie band, so it has that kind of thing. There are also female vocals, female keyboards. Those two are the members, and then other sessions in the background. But their song is really just really calm, nice, witty to listen to, and I know why they were opener for Sininu. There's something I can't really describe it too much, but from with my vocabulary right now, but there's like a little bit of similarity there in terms of line of music they're doing, but Record the Voice Message's music is a little bit more toned down, calm, and has a little bit of acoustic and folk vibes in there compared to Sininu's. So it's a little bit less upbeat, but if you're doing something, you want to focus on some task, and then if you play their music in the background, I think it will go really well. It's like a medium tempo, it's a little bit slow to medium tempo songs. A lot of them are like that, and the vocal, it has very soothing and calm voice, and then their melodies kind of aligned with that tone. So highly recommend their songs as well. I don't want to pick everything. So another band another song I kind of want to bring up to attention is Bump to Soul. There are also Korean bands. No vocals really. Not. I sometimes they sing, but most of their songs they don't. I think. They're kind of like funk, contemporary jazz, R&B type of band. And they just released a new album this year. It's called Bump-Toos, I guess that's how you pronounce it. But funny enough, this is unexpected collab that I really expected from them. Cory Wong, the member from not Snarky Puppy, Cory Wong, the guitarist, the member of Wolfpack, was doing a featuring in this a song called Skunk. Um, Bump to Soul itself has pretty similar vibe of music with like how Cory Wong does his things. Um, this just blends so perfectly. Like Bump to Soul, what I like about them is really standing out drum and bass lines. Uh, I really like that. You know, I don't know how to describe it. The kind of elastic vibes, of that bass rigs and then drum going back and forth. Like it's kind of like you're dancing in on top of an elastic band. I don't know if that makes sense. Something like that. I really like that kind of thing from their songs. Um, but Curry Wong's guitar just blends so perfect with their music, and it's just unexpected collab. So I start to listen to it. I'm like, oh, this kind of sounds like Bump to Soul song, but also sounds like Curry Wong song as well. So, um, and I mentioned earlier, I started to listen to a lot more of those jazzy, bossa pop, contemporary jazz type of things after that jazz concert I went to. So kind of blended perfectly into what I was listening to more, what I wanted to listen to more. So I just kind of snuck in, that song in there. So yeah, I guess that's like three Korean bands that I unexpectedly I ended up mentioning in this episode. So if you're interested in this type of music or this Bump to Soul band, another song I would recommend is Broken Side Mirror. That's probably one of their famous song, but again, it's pretty upbeat. It's a fun song to listen to. Apparently, the description is they are describing literally like when you're driving through like Seoul or something, and then you have a broken side mirror. this the song's literally about that and trying to describe how that feels. So it's a fun song to listen to. I personally like. How do you think about this kind of thing? Like, how many? I don't know how often you get your side mirrors broken while you're on a highway, but like fact that they kind of came up with this idea and then wanted to express that in their music. It's just wow. Like they're really creative people. But anyways, fun songs to listen to. So if you're into this type of music, funk kind of thing, that's another band to listen to. If you're like Wolfpack, I think, yeah, I think you will like this band as well, or Cory Wong in general. So yeah, you, um, so I do I want to describe any more bands? I think it might get too long if I do more. Uh, I think I'll it's only April, March, so I think I'm gonna try to add a little bit more as I go. And I tend to discover a lot more songs as I go. It's a living list and never. It gets long sometimes, but I think I'll continue to add things as I discover throughout this year. So I think I'll end in terms of mentioning artists slash songs that's in this playlist for now. Uh, so what kind of inspired me or what came back with me in this Spring 26 playlist is how live shows physically can change how you hear the recorded musics. Like sometimes mixing has its own focus. Obviously, good mixing is you you help the listener to hear songs neutrally, but sometimes when you're in live performance, there's just your favorite session or member. That's always a thing, at least for me. Maybe it's just their performance or condition in that particular live performances. But if I hear what some impressive things they can do in that live performance, I always try to revisit the recording and then just try to focus on that instrument, and it's just so refreshing. So I think at least going to a lot of live performances last year has enabled me to do that, or kind of forced me to listen to those instruments more carefully, and then kind of changed how I feel about that music and how I listen to that music. So I'm like, when I'm listening to one of Shinee new songs, before I was like, oh man, this vocal is so sweet, and then it's nice, unique tone. Now I'm like, damn, I need to just listen to keyboard. It's just so good. I really want to feel this live, feel the keyboard feeling that I felt during the live performance. So, that's what's came back to me. Between Fall 25 versus Spring 26 playlist. Even if it's the same song. Fall 25, I was like just listening to the music because I like that music. Spring 26, I'm just kind of reviewing the music because reviewing the music in the sense that I want to focus on some instruments that I really loved listening to during the live performance. So if you see the overlap between that, that's at least what's different and how I'm listening to the music different between last year versus early this year. So that's what came back to me, and um, uh, and then I guess a little bit of cultural background content. Some of I mentioned that I'm Korean American. Um, some of I mean, obviously, I talk to a lot of my Korean friends, and whether they are same Korean Americans or they're just Korean people living in U.S. or there are literally Korean friends in Korea. Uh, they influenced me a lot, and the culture really influenced me a lot because a lot of my American friends also ask me about Korean cultures a lot because I guess it's kind of popular now. So it's one identity I can't separate with myself. Um, and a lot of these indie Korean musics are what I really enjoy listening to as well. So um, when I went to Korea, I only go back like once a year for about 3 weeks. So I wanted to go as much as possible because small bands don't travel internationally too much. Um, so yeah, that's why how I discovered some musics like or bands like the record, the voice message, and then um, as you discover more about these bands, I think a lot of times you can dig more into similar line of music and genres, and if that's something you love, it unlocks not only one country's music, but like Japanese, American, Korean, Taiwanese or whatever. Like if it's a similar genre and the music's something that you really enjoy, I think that's something you should pursue listening to. Like you might not understand the lyrics, but music has something in there that kind of can give you a feeling of what this music is about. And if you like a specific beat, and if you listen to music analytically, I think that kind of allows you to think out of the box because different cultural background influences music to be a little different. Um, so when I'm listening to Korean versus American versus I listen to some Japanese musics, um, there's just some identity in the music itself that kind of reflects back into that culture. So that's another fun thing that you can find from exploring um, different musics, genres, and the origin country or cultural backgrounds. So that's why I love to collab. Also, the Charlie Puth Home, that song with Japanese artist. I thought that was pretty unique because it has Charlie Puth's vibes or his tone in there. Obviously, it's his music and his album, but it has a bit of that hint of J-pop or Japanese vocal flavor or Japanese culture flavor in there. Um, so yeah, that's kind of went off topic there, but I just kind of wanted to say that as well because this vocalist had just revisiting Charlie Puth Home song again. This vocalist had collab with Yonezu Kenshi. He's a famous Japanese artist, and I think one of the song on Jane Doe from Chainsaw Man, I think she did a little bit collab with him, and I'm like, I don't know why, but this song Jane Doe, and the Home kind of had similar feeling to it. Maybe it's because of her, but it's just fascinating when I can connect some of these artists, although they're big names, together because of this unexpectedness of collab or whatever in there. So it's just I recommend listening to those two songs back to back. It's very interesting. Yeah. Wow. Now that I've recorded for 45 minutes, it really is a good reminder. I need to expand my vocabulary. I'm not doing a great job of describing my feeling in songs, but I think there's something about music that you can't really describe fully with the words, or like just simply speaking. You kind of have to listen to it. But I hope you guys have some agreement with what I listen to, or if your taste is pretty similar to me, I think you will enjoy all these musics that I've talked about in this podcast. So yeah, closing this episode, 26 as a document of a season is kind of a document of a season, not really a just a playlist. It's just kind of like my thoughts or my feelings this year, and then what my plan is this year. It's kind of like that all aligned and summed up in terms of music, so that's kind of unique to me. Every year's playlist is kind of like that. It's capturing a bit of my life in there, and then it's just so magical, something about music. If you listen back, it kind of reminds me of that part of your life, I guess. So I really like doing that capture with this playlist. So that's why it's meaningful, and I hope whoever's listening to this podcast, by doing their own seasonal playlist, can do that. It reflecting back, it means a lot, really. So if you like a particular artist and if they're releasing new songs, and if you want to discover more about that genre you like, I think this is the example of what you can do. And if you share the same music taste as me, I have a template and good reference about the most recent music these type of artists are releasing, and you can obviously help the algorithm to guide you after listening to these, because it's really good now. And so spring 26 is turning into summer 26, but I like to capture summer at the same time, because that transition is nowadays is pretty sudden. So maybe I'm gonna listen to a little bit more upbeat things now, because the weather's getting a little hot, and there's nothing like upbeat music when it's hot and then you're staring at the beach and things like that. So yeah, that's my summer direction. Maybe I'm feeling good this year, so maybe more upbeat music will be updated to spring 26. And fall 26 is obviously incoming as well, towards the second half of this year. And because Outside Land is on the August, which is second half of this year, some of those Outside Land artists will probably heavily influence my fall 26, but not limited to them. I will obviously try to explore a little bit more. I mean, I don't know everyone there, so I think this will be good opportunity to listen to more new musics, and if that aligns with whatever music I have in the spring 26 or fall 25 or whatever, obviously that's kind of sticking to my playlist, and that's the artist that I want to keep on under my radar to kind of dig and listen a little bit more. Yeah, I think that's it for my first ever music focused or first ever official episode of this Second Harmonics. Hopefully I improve my vocabulary as it goes, but yeah, I think that's it. Everyone have a great week, and I'll see you on the next episode.